Hey team, man, you all had some outstanding questions. I want to spend a few time addressing each one that was left in the previous Q&A video, as well as in one of the community tab posts. So let's get after this. Right, so Adrian asked, why is it hard to stay in the Marine Corps for 20 years, and how do you make staff sergeant in the Marine Corps? So I don't know that it's all that hard to stay in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I mean, it's hard to stay anywhere for 20 years if you think about it. You know, the amount of times that people change jobs, change careers and professions throughout the course of their life, it's a lot, right? Now, as far as making staff sergeant, that's a centralized board in the Marine Corps, similar to making sergeant first class in the Army. So your records are looked at, and it's outside of your area, outside of your scope. And so the board looks at your file. And I'll tell you, I think one of the things that I felt that the Marine Corps got right, this was back in the late 90s and early 2000s, was the Christmas tree that we had on our fit reps, because it was tracking your rater and what their profile was back in the day. And in the Army, I think, to be honest with you, a lot of maybe junior sergeants first class and maybe a lot of junior captains kind of over bloat performance and potential. And that over performance, or that bloating, I think ultimately, at least the stereotype of what we think is happening, is that some people are getting promoted that maybe shouldn't. Of course, I remember in the Corps, you know, if you got passed over twice, you were gone, so you really had to stay up on your game. But ultimately, I don't know if it's truly that hard of a thing to do to stay in the military, in any service, for 20 years. Which countries, Adrian also asked, what countries did I travel with in the Army? So I'm going to combine both the Marine Corps and my time in the Army. My first year was in Okinawa, and then, I've been to, this is Marine Corps time, I've been to Greece, Italy, England, Portugal, Spain, Ireland, I've been to Canada. Crap, I don't know if that's it or not. In the Army, of course, I've been to Kuwait and Iraq, Korea, both Marine Corps and the Army, and I think that's it. I don't know, man. Time slips away on you. But yeah, I've been really fortunate to have been in a lot of places, so I can't complain. So Justin Peterson is talking about leading on empty. What can we do to recharge and re-energize, you know, other than just taking some leave? And I'll tell you, man, this is tough, and I know that so many of all of us deal with these things of being empty and then coming to work and grinding and trying to find some way to reconnect and re-tap into our why and our task and our purpose. And I can tell you from my experience in dealing with people who are feeling empty, especially with junior NCOs and junior subordinates, I think the number one thing that I try to keep in the back of my mind is that everybody joined for a reason, right? Everybody, regardless of where we came from, I believe that everybody wants to win, right? Does that make sense? And I know that even with some of those problem childs, that there's a reason why they came in, and they don't want to lose, and they want to win, and they want to have a good day and a good career and a good life. And that there's something, like if I played on a most badass motivational movie, by the way, what is your favorite motivational movie? Let me know down in the comments below. War movie specifically, military movie. I know that if I played it, maybe it was a Black Hawk Down or a Saving Private Ryan or whatever it was, that there's going to be some hairs on the back of their neck that's going to start poking up. And they're going to start feeling really dadgum proud. Maybe not of themselves, maybe not of their service, but of what they are seeing. And I believe that as a leader, if I can tap into that people are going to start enjoying what they're doing a little bit more than they may have been doing the day before. And so when I'm having a bad day, when I'm having a hard time, and when I'm feeling like I'm on empty, man, I just try to remind myself of that the people around me, they all join for a reason. They all want to win. So when I look up and I start getting irritated, And when I look side to side and I start getting frustrated, and when I look to those who are in my charge and I start feeling it, I got to remember that all of them joined for a reason. And everybody's doing, for the most part, the best job that they can in order to improve their foxhole, right? Does that make sense? And so I try to remind myself of that to help ground myself and say, you know what? I may not be able to change what's going on up here. I may not be able to change who's to my left and who's to my right, but I can change myself. And I can make an environment for those who are in my charge where they feel a sense of pride and honor in what they're doing, that they know what they're doing is going to make sense. And that pumps me up. Having soldiers pumps me the hell up. Getting after it pumps me up. Watching them dadgum have a good time pumps me up. Watching them embrace the suck and being with them when they do that pumps me up. And so I know that's not a easy thing to answer, but I think just try to help maintain a sense of perspective and drive. Make sure that you're tapped in with your why, of why you join and why you serve the people of the United States. And then know that everything passes, right? Everything ebbs and flows. So the hard time now, maybe some of the folks that you're frustrated with, in 6 months to 12 months to 18 months, they're going to be gone, or you're going to be gone. So everything's constantly changing. So best of luck to you, man, and get dadgum tapped in. Dragon Slayer says, if I could change one thing about the Army, what would it be? To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm at the point in my life right now, I think, where I realize that my vision can be myopic, right? That sometimes I don't have the best field of view to see. I don't have enough elevation to see. If I could change one thing, it would be to let Stoker be a first sergeant for another 20 years. But, you know, up or out is how it goes. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. Yeah. Just let Stoker be Stoker. Chris says he joined at 29, and he married the Army. Was married, and so Chris says he joined the Army at 29, and he talks about his balance of work and home and PCS and all that stuff. And I'll tell you, it is tough. I think I had a break in service, right? And coming back in, I was early mid-30s, and I think some of my deployments really created some hardships for my family. One of them came at a really bad time, and introduced my family to some different dynamics, especially my kids. And being gone and being away was a pretty good struggle, a pretty hard struggle for them. And so I'll tell you, you know, it can be a tough thing, but I would say that you and your wife, man, you have to have the strongest connection. So being, you know, radically open and honest with each other is absolutely key and critical. You know, don't hide your hardships, don't hide the hard things that you're dealing with. And the same thing I would submit to you with your wife is make sure that you're engaging her so that you are on the same page. You know, even with kids, and that's the thing, you know, we all become empty nesters at some point in time, and they're going to go off and do their own thing. And when they do, if you two aren't grounded, then your marriage may fall apart. So I believe number one priority for me is my faith. Number two is my wife. Number three is my kids. And of course, my sense of valor and honor and duty all fits in throughout all of that. But my wife has to be my number one priority. And so we've struggled. We've been married for 25 years in just over a month. So I can tell you, man, I understand where you're coming from. Is it worth it? Ultimately, even with all of our hardships that we've had in our family, whether it was financial, whether it was just marital stress, whether it was sickness and illness and having kids in the hospital. Yes, I really don't have any regrets on all of that, because where everybody is now and where they are emerging to, I got a lot of faith and hope in all of us. So, man, I wish you the best of luck, brother. So I think that was everything in the Q&A video. I hope I didn't miss anything. I want to jump over to the community tab and look at some of these, because it was some really good, and I think we have some good comments here. Wolo Wizard was talking about the lack of support from fellow NCOs as being the most difficult challenge. And man, I feel you. And one of the things that you can do is remember that you can't change them. And they can't drag you down. But what will happen, from my experience, is that if you're grinding hard each and every single day, and you're creating wins, and your team is winning, at some point in time, they're going to get on board. Now, that I do not, as you're winning and as you're succeeding and as you're pushing forward, push them down, overtly or subvertly. Don't push them down. Just be you and be real and be authentic, and help them win and help them succeed and help this team over here. And now once you start to bring everybody up, now collectively we start doing a whole lot good or so. But I can tell you, man, I feel you on that one for sure. Their Nerd Life talking about 3 personnel and supposed to have a 5. So we're talking about being understaffed and overtasked. And man, I feel you. I think almost every team I've been in, regardless of size, I've not had the proper strength, whether it was numbers or whether it was grade. Having specialists serving as team chiefs, having sergeants serving as section sergeants or squad leaders, having my section sergeant serving as a platoon sergeant, and I love when that happens. It's a really good opportunity for folks, but there is a reason that the Army MTOs our teams the way that they do. And so when we don't have that, it's a huge challenge. And man, I feel you. And what I'll tell you and submit to you is there's nothing that we can do, but what you need to do is, when you are in a position where you believe that you're going to have to accept some risk, make sure you're communicating up what those risks are, because we can't accept risk, right? We can only advise on these things. So if I have 2 things and they're both a hot priority, then I need to say I can get this done, but this is going to be at risk. Are you good with that? And then let your seniors help support you, maneuver around some resources if need be, and then that way you can keep moving forward. Tony Two Nukes was talking about soldiers, immature soldiers who don't care, whether it's on a physical fitness test or whatever. And that can be tough, man. And I'll tell you, what you need to do, what I try to do is I don't pussyfoot around the issues or the scenarios, man. If there's an issue, I call it out as I see it. And when somebody breaks that standard and they fall below, I'm going to try to empower them to the best of my ability. But I have to tell them, if you keep doing X, Y, and Z, here's what's going to happen. And then if they keep doing X, Y, and Z, what I said was going to happen is going to happen. That's not necessarily going to fix the rest of the team and the issues that you may have, but they will see whether or not you're holding folks accountable or not. And if you don't hold one person accountable, whether it's a stellar soldier or whether it's a subpar soldier, everybody's going to see it. And they're going to call your integrity into question. And so that's what we have to do, right? I build people up the same way. I could have a soldier who irritates the crap out of me, man, but if they do the right thing, I'm going to praise them in public. I could have a stellar soldier, maybe it's a team chief, who's always knocking it out of the park. Man, for whatever reason, at fault of their own, they're showing up late or dropping the ball and stuff, I'm going to call them out. I'm going to pull them aside. I'm going to grab them up by the dadgum belt, and I'm going to say, man, you need to get your life straight. Let's talk story about what's going on. Make sure there's nothing mitigating or extenuating. And here's what's going to happen if you keep going down this road. We have to hold each other accountable. So huge. Baggins talking about blatantly defiant in a squad chat. I'm assuming that we're talking about cell phone chat, whether it's text message or signal or whatever, however we're using it. And I'll tell you, I can't imagine that happening. If you're a team chief and you're putting something out, if people don't want to receive messages, because this is not a leadership tool, right? Is it convenient? Yes, but it can't be a crutch, right? So if people don't want to receive a message, hey man, that's cool. We'll start doing 5 a days. We start doing 5 a days, and people are going to be a lot more apt to be responsive and be respectful in a message. That being said, man, if Stoker has always tried to do this, if something can wait, then I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to send out a message. If it can wait, then I'm going to let it wait until the next time that I physically see somebody. And that may mean that it takes me longer to get back up to higher on something. But Stoker feels it's important to communicate in person as opposed to communicating through electronic means, whether it's email or text messages or whatever. But if somebody's being defiant, somebody's being like disrespectful or something, like, it doesn't matter what the mode of the communication is. You need to nip that crap in the bud, because it's going to be a fever that's going to spread out amongst the rest of the team. So best of luck to you in dealing with that. Team, man, I appreciate each and every single one of y'all. I hope that you got some value in the conversation, a little more of a long answer. Sometimes when you leave a comment, you leave a question, and I leave a response, it's kind of really short form. So hopefully in this area, it was a little bit more of a long form conversation piece, man. Team, you guys, you keep after it, man. You keep grinding. Tap into your why. Believe in yourself. Believe in your team. And when you need something, just know that I'm here, and you can hit me up, and we can continue to have this conversation. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.